Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target to understand a brand new topic. We haven't discussed it earlier. This is your new chapter. Our target is to understand if an organization who is doing a trading business, whether the organization is getting profit or loss. Another new concept has been introduced in this chapter, and that is balance sheet. But could you imagine? There is nothing new. Everything we have already understood. In accounting, we have said there are four pillars of accounting in which we have discussed. First is our expenses, and then we have discussed our income, after which we have seen assets, and then we have seen our liabilities. So these are four pillars of accounting, and in this chapter we are going to discuss same four different things: expenses, income, assets, and liabilities. Now here in heading you can see we have trading profit and loss account. This is first heading, and then balance sheet. I'm very sure that you people may have guessed this is one side where we will be making trading profit and loss account. That means we will see whether the organization or the business is earning profit or loss. And here we have the second side. When you will write all assets and liabilities, this would be considered as your balance sheet. So here we are going to make heading of balance sheet. So the matter of understanding is you will be creating four different sides. When you will open your notebook, you will be selecting two pages, one at left side, one at right side. There are four columns here. This is our first column. Continuously it will be going downside, and you are going to create this column and a line on the right side. In the similar way, you will be creating another border line. This is the way we are going to make pattern and performa for making trading profit loss account. So now you can see that we have different expenses, incomes. Here you will write the amount of all expenses. Here you will write amounts of all income. In similar way, if in our question assets are present, you will going to be writing all details regarding your assets over here. And then finally, if in your question you have your liabilities, detail of those liabilities would be posted in this last column. Alright guys, now our performa is ready. So make your mind, at left page you will draw first column, and then you will draw your second column. On right page you will draw first column and second column. Here you will write all of your detail regarding your expenses and income, and here you will write your assets and liabilities. Please understand that in your question asset, liability, expense and income would be mixed. Maybe possible assets are present at upward, liabilities are present downward. So from that mixture, you will pick all expenses and you will write at first column, and then all incomes on second column, assets on third column, liabilities on fourth column. So why we are writing this? If you want to know whether organization is earning profit or loss, so what you will do? I'm just giving you an example. Let's say our income includes sales and we have 1000 amount of sale. On the other hand, we have some cost. Let's say purchases are raw material. The cost of those products were 800. Now understand, if you have earned, this is your income. If you have earned 1000 while your expense is 800, so what we have got? Profit or loss? A commodity which was bought for 800 rupees, you have sold it for 1000 rupees. So it would be considered as your profit. On the other hand, if amount of sale is 800 and the cost was 1000, it would be loss. So from question, you will write all your incomes upon here, all your expenses upon here. But there would be a little difference. We will divide these expenses and income into two parts. I'm going to divide it. Over here, you need to put two lines. In the similar way, over here, you are going to put again two lines. So guys, here we have divided our expenses and income into two parts. This first part would be for direct expenses. Over here, this part would be used for direct income. Now you will ask question, what are direct expenses and what are direct income? Please understand, the expenses upon production, the expenses of business are called direct expenses. All those expenses which you are making upon your business only, those are direct expenses, and amount you are earning from your business, it is direct income. And expenses which are non-business or indirect or which are not directly related with your business, they would be called indirect expenses. So we have divided it into two parts, indirect expenses, and here you will write indirect income, and here I'm going to write it over here. Alright guys, first we have divided this page into two parts. At left side we were writing expenses, on right side we were writing income, and then again we have divided this part into two further different aspects. Upper part of this side, upper part of expense side, this would be called direct expense, and lower part would be called indirect expenses, and lower part of right side would be considered indirect income. And what are those expenses which can be considered as direct expense? First, purchase we have already written, and let's say if there are some returns or purchase return, you will subtract it, purchase return, you will subtract, and final amount would be written over here. And then you will write all direct expenses which are remaining. I'm giving you some examples. Carriage, freight, octroi, duty, customs, railway, transport, wages. Okay, some more space is needed. So here we are going to add few more spaces to add them to write all possible elements which can be present over here. What is your responsibility? All those expenses which I am writing over here, you will have to remember it. You will memorize it. These expenses should be present over here. So beside that, there are few more: power, gas, coal tar, and we may write wages as well over here, although we had written it first. And duty may include import duty. So almost all direct expenses, possible direct expenses, I have written over here, where you will start with the purchases, and here you have written the headings of direct expenses, carriage, freight. All these expenses are actually transport expenses. If you want to know the literal meaning, you can take your dictionary to translate it. While carriage, freight, octroi, duty, customs, railway, transport, power, for the time being, what you will say, all these expenses would have this fixed place. Left page and upper portion, it is fixed for direct expenses. Different examples I have given for direct expenses. And kindly note that it would be started with opening stock. On the other hand, now we'll come over here. This would be with closing stock, which is unused. You will write sales and then less sales return. This portion has been completed. We have direct expenses over here, direct income over here. Now we will see what are examples of indirect income. Here I will start writing rent, trade expenses, then we have salary. Right now I'm giving you examples of indirect expenses. General expenses, then carriage out or carriage on sales. Here we have lower space, so we can write it lower side. So carriage on sales, after which you may write discount on sales, and then commission, which is written on debit side, bank charges, or here you can write bad debts as well, then selling commission, printing charges, advertisement, electric charges. For the time being, you are responsible just to write down these expenses. The definition of indirect expenses are expenses of business not related with your manufacturing, not related with your trading. In a business, these are expenses which are directly related with buying and selling. And these are expenses which are not related directly to the business, but without these expenses, business would not be successful. Now, last part, indirect income, and here you will write discount on purchase, discount received, or interest received. Here you can see amounts are being received. That is why these are considered as income. And you can see all amounts are being paid out. So these are expenses. Just one thing you will be noting down. We have divided expenses into two parts. Direct expenses, indirect expenses. Business expenses would be written on upper part and non-business or indirect expenses would be written on lower part. Here income is divided into two parts. Direct income, which is you have earned directly from trading or business, and this is income you have earned but not directly from the business. Okay, this one part has been completed, and this part was trading profit and loss account. For the time being, you will understand the position of these different expenses and income, and next stage we will see how to calculate profit or loss. On the other hand, you have your right side. This was fixed for the balance sheet. And now first time you will see we will divide our assets again into three parts. Upon here you may write your fixed assets and little more space we will take for the current assets, and finally we will see investments. As we have divided our expenses into two parts, we are dividing our assets into three parts. Fixed asset, what does that mean? Asset which can be depreciated, which have long life, or which cannot be converted into cash easily. For example, you may have machine, land, building. Then you may write furniture, fixtures, furniture, plant. Fixture can also be fixed asset. Okay, some of the examples we have written, and then you will be writing your current assets. That means which can be converted into cash easily. For example, account receivable, sundry debtors, cash in hand, bank account. And finally, investments, those would be written after that. We are taking it to here. Third heading, investment may include fixed deposit account, or investment itself can also be written. Side is completed. So in assets, you will divide asset into three parts: fixed assets, current asset, and investment. Examples are being written over here. And here you will write same fixed liabilities and current liabilities. Here you will write your reserves. Fixed liabilities will include your capital. In capital, you will add your profit, which you will calculate from this side. For the time being, we are trying to make our mind what elements would be written in what side. So that is why we will start our calculation in next lecture. For the time being, just try to understand the positioning. We will add profit, or we will subtract drawings. We will add interest on capital over here. So now we will see our current liabilities. In current liabilities, you may write your creditors, account payables, or notes payable. Here finally you will write your reserves, and any reserve by name. If reserve is written in your question, you will write all those reserves over here. Just little bit I will let you know how you will write the amounts. Amount of machine you will write over here, land over here, building. In this way, all assets amounts of all assets would be written over here. Finally, you will take the sum of current asset, fixed asset, and investment. That would be written over here, sum. And in the same way, you will calculate sum of all your liabilities. And I am glad to let you know that when you will complete your question, sum of all assets and sum of all liabilities would always be equal. So in this way, at your exam, you will come to know whether you have solved your question correctly or not. So please understand what I have said. Sum of assets and sum of liabilities would always be equal. So dear students, I am requesting you that for the time being, you will make this performer at your copies. And further discussion we will be making later on. For the time being, you are responsible to make trading profit loss account on your left side and write down all these elements as it is. There they are being written. On the right side page, what you will do, you will write your assets and liabilities at this place. That is the only responsibility which is being given to you. And in next lecture, we will see how calculations are made. So it's time to end our lecture. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure that you people have understood. On copies you will draw everything which you can see over here. We will soon meet again for further understanding. So thank you very much for your time. It's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.